Hi, good morning. I'm Piper. This is Chakra Talk Live. Today I'm going to talk to you about being pissed off. We're going to talk about the difference in anger as a driving force and anger as something to consume us and take our lives away from us. Okay? To do my little intro, I'm Piper. This is Chakra Talk. I run this group on Facebook. We have a local page, Marinsky's Magic, for stuff we do here locally in Salem, Oregon. And so that's just one button away from this page. Let's see, what else can I tell you? We have a big event coming up next week here at the house. Wednesday, the 27th, I believe it is. We'll be hosting Cherry Divine for Wine and Wisdom Wednesday. If any of you know Cherry, you know that she is a force to be reckoned with as she travels around the world with this gang of ancients that guide her and allow her to guide others. We're expecting a magnificent turnout here at home. I'm cooking a big dinner. We got lots of wine sitting in the garage getting cold. It's going to be a beautiful evening. So feel free to join us. There's no covered charge. We take donations only. We provide the food, the wine. So come see what we're about. It's a great time. Okay. I'm going to get going here today. I want to share something with you. I have the exponential joy today of seeing the forward progress and the success and the absolutely life-changing events that can occur because of getting pissed off. And I want to talk to you about that from an energetic viewpoint. I want to talk to you about what anger is, and then we'll talk about what this being angry is, which is different. Anger is a energetic force. Anger is a word we've applied to it, but I can use that and I can explain it to you in a way that will make sense. If you live an angry life and you're just angry all the time and it's not driving you and it's not creating any change in your life other than to piss people off. I mean, you've all seen people like that. They're mad no matter what's happening. That's not what we're talking about. That's thoughts about thoughts, and we're going to speak about that too. But right now we're going to start way down deep in the orange chakra. I'm sitting here. You can see a little bit of my smoke, actually. There you go. Incensing myself. I'm sitting here and I'm looking at two different forms in front of me. Right here in front of me to the side, I have a candle burning. It has two wicks in it, and the wicks just flicker away and burn, and the candle just sits there and holds its own. And it just produces light, and there's no consumption of the candle. Eventually, over months and months, they burn down, but it's the way it's designed, it just burns. The fire just burns and does what it does. Over here on this one, I have a little cone. It's incense from India. And that one I'm looking at, and there's no flame. It's hot. If I touch it, it'll burn a blister on me, but there's no flame. It's just a little cone and some ashes. And what I sit here and I observe is that it's smoldering. And as it smolders, it consumes the cone. And at the end of the smoldering, nothing has been produced, and the cone is disintegrated to ashes. Nothing is accomplished by the smoldering except, in my case, the lovely smell of Nag Champa. But do you see the difference in an active burning fire, a candle wick that's lit, and in a smoldering fire that eventually consumes everything it comes in contact with? It burns it down until there's nothing but this little triangle of ash. When you touch it, they always go. Good morning, guys. We're going to talk today about anger, what you can do with it and what it can do to you. So anyway, I started this talk. I want to talk to you about what a great thing anger can be in getting your life turned around, straightened up, and motivated and pushed hard enough to actually make a difference. Like I said, there's a difference in anger, the burning energy, the fire that's producing light and heat as it goes, and there's a difference in this smoldering, pissy, taking up all my time energy over here, which is found in the crown chakra. Okay? Right now, we're going to talk about the orange chakra, and we're going to talk about the actual forceful energy of anger. Anger is the same energy as sexual energy. It's the same location, the same driving force. It is your will, and it's your will being affected by something outside yourself, or so it seems. Anger occurs when your internal state reacts to incoming data in a way that is fiery. It bursts out of you. Anger in this bursting out is the natural energetic state of anger. It is the natural energetic state of a burst up through the orange chakra from the root. Pow! That's power. That's will. Okay? But you either control it or it will very quickly control you. This can happen two ways. You controlling it means you understand what is occurring. It is power. How do I direct this power into something safe, productive, and beneficial to me and not burn up everything around me? Okay, because anger is like the power of fire, and the fire does coordinate way down there in the root in the orange chakra. This is the power to produce heat and light, but it is also the power of consumption. Okay, you have to control it and not let it eat you up. So what I was trying to get to, and I'm still trying to get to, I have a friend, and congratulations to that beautiful friend of mine. She begins a new career this next week because she got pissed off. Finally, she got enough of people telling her she couldn't be her own person. She couldn't be successful. She couldn't stand on her own without a man to guide her or a partner to guide her. And prior to that, a parent to guide her. Do you see where this is going? She got mad. And in 4 months' time, I have watched her transform her life from being angry and living in anger to getting mad and using that power and forcing big changes. Big changes. Huge. It is powerful if you control it. And it has a very specific purpose. Like everything we discuss in the energetics of chakras, what do you suppose the purpose of that orange boiling energy way down here might be? What have we talked about all the time being the nature of energy? Its nature is to spiral upward. That's the natural, the right, the correct, the noble, whatever word you want. This is what energy does naturally. Well, what better way to get that going than a boost of fire underneath it? Pooh, the whole thing is spinning and going. Sometimes that anger is what is required to open up those chakras and get things moving beyond being stuck down in the red and depression. We've talked about being mired in the root chakra so deeply that it is just about quit spinning. And this manifests in what we recognize in the modern world as what they call depression. Your mood changes, your energy changes dramatically, your interest in anything changes to just, you just don't care. You don't even care if you breathe or not. It's just too much work. You just cannot be bothered. Well, that's because your energy's stuck down there and all that stuff's trying to happen up here and you just don't care. Okay. Well, the same thing happened with me with anger, but this was about 5 years ago, I guess, close to 6 now. I got angry one day because there was so much going on in my head that I didn't feel like I was driving it. It was driving me. In a common thing, you hear people say things, driving me crazy. Well, it was. It was driving me to the brink of insanity, to being like, I can't stay here and function anymore. I'm losing it. So I got pissed off one day. And I turned around inside my head and looked at where the voices were coming. And I was, what the fuck do you want? I mean, and I was mad. This was a screaming, raging fit with the universe. And a quiet one said, we're here to help. Sure enough, they were. She's still with me today. There was a lot in there that wasn't there to help them. And that's the kind of stuff that can boil up if you're living in anger. You see, I've been angry my whole life. I was neglected, forgotten, abused, sexually abused, all sorts of weird, bizarro things happening and seriously religiously brainwashed as a child. And I'm damn mad about it. But see, being mad about it for 50 years kept me being mad about it. It didn't accomplish anything. At the end of 50 years of being mad, you know what? I was still mad. Nothing had been won. Nothing had been accomplished. Nothing was any better. Now, I don't mean 50 years for me. For me, it's probably more like 40 years. But for however long you've been carrying around this, I'm mad, realize you're carrying around thoughts about thoughts. The power of the mad left you long, long ago. Okay? A lot of times you get mired in that depression, and that can also feel like I'm mad, but you don't have the energy to put into mad, so you just sit down there and be mad. I'm mad. Well, what are you mad at? Well, something happened to me when I was 10. Well, now you're 50. Well, I'm mad. Well, that's kind of how it is if you get stuck down there. It's kind of like being 10 and being stubborn, only on an energetic level, it can go on for decades. Literally, I was taking little pretty colored pills of every pastel color for 20 years, and people were telling me, you're not well. You have depression. You have a major depressive disorder, I was told repeatedly. You know what? Their little colored pills didn't fix that. When I quit taking those little colored pills, I still had a major depressive disorder. It's just that now I could wake up and be aware of it. Shit, 20 years of my life disappeared in little pastel pills. And during that 20 years, I worked a full career and raised a family and helped raise grandchildren, at times having custody of them. I mean, life went on, and I just wasn't there. And then one day when I turned around at the universe and I screamed, "What is it you want?" I mean, I was sick. I had cancer. I was very, very malnourished. I had no teeth. I was fucked up. I turned around and, "What do you want?" And said, "We want help." And everybody else that was screaming at me and giving me all this bullshit kind of went, "Whoa." The one that said, "I want to help," said just like that, "We're here to help." And for some reason, I had the courage to say, show me what you can do. And here I am today, 5 years later. That's because I got mad. That's because I got mad, and then I began controlling that energy rather than letting it consume me like my Nag Champa here that's about to burn up. My dear sweet friend who just got herself a new career got that career because she got mad about people telling her she couldn't. She got mad because people had identified her for her and wouldn't accept her own explanation of her own identity. She'd say, "But I'm this," and they'd say, "No, you're not." Well, she did that for 35 years, and now she's done. And she turned that around because she got mad. She's not mad now, you see. She's not angry. All those things that drove her to do that for 35 years now are a point of this I can be grateful for. It got me to here. For me, it was close to 50 years. I have 50 years worth of gratitude for the crap that got me to here. And it wasn't all crap. It never is. You know how your days and your lives go. I'm digging deeply through some old journals for someone, and I notice in the writing, we don't write down what we had for dinner. We don't write down how many times we peed that day. We don't write down if the laundry's done or not. We write down the things that grabbed our attention that day for a minute long enough for us to go, "Oh, I see that there." We don't write down all the things that are running on automatic. Okay, well, that's the way we kind of look at life too. Life can just slide by like all those things we don't write down if we don't pay attention to them. At the same time, if you pay so much attention to any one thing as it glides by, look, it takes your attention and the attention goes with it. So then you're missing what's here. The trick is to be right here and let it run by this way. And as it runs by, you have awareness of it. And there's still things that make me angry. Let me rephrase that. There are still things I choose to be angry about, and I have yet to learn how to completely give that up. And I work on it regularly. But I have a great understanding now that when those things wiggle by and they make me angry, I choose to be angry. Then I have a moment of learning. Why do I still choose to be angry about that? It doesn't affect me personally. There's nothing I can do about it. Why do I hang on to that anger? And it doesn't consume me. It goes by like the smoke. It just wiggles by. It's something to think about when I think about it. It's not anything I sit and dwell on. And my incense, you can see my smoke is going away. The smoldering incense has consumed itself completely. It's almost dead. And that is exactly what anger will do to you if you let it smolder inside your soul. It does not produce heat and light like the flame with the candle. It's still burning there, still beautiful, no effect at all, just burning away. And this one burned itself to death. This is profound, People have the idea, and so much with chakras has to do with what the crown thinks about what's going on. And so there's the reality of what's going on, and then there's what the crown thinks about what's going on. And we've talked and talked and talked about thoughts. Living your life in anger, mired in hatred, getting up in the morning, being prepared to be pissed off. That's all driven by the crown chakra. And that is a huge waste of your energy that you could actually be using as the will that was the original generator. If you find yourself in a circumstance in society, say, and something triggers in you a blow up of an explosive anger at someone, you just tell somebody off, okay, blah, 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 whatever it is. And then you come home and you say, well, that really made me mad. Okay? Right then and there, that should be your closing statement. And if you really want to get technical about how to control this, you would say that anger occurred and I chose to feel mad. Okay? The anger is energetic. The mad is a feeling you chose. It's a response to the anger. Okay. I've heard somebody say, what is anger? And I've heard other people say, I've heard it explained as anger is your response to other people's mistakes. Oh, dear God. No. Anger is your response to the people you are drawing into your life so that you can look at and reflect yourself and see what you got screwed up. And man, it pisses you off when it's in your face. I'm not like that. I'm not doing that. Blah, blah, blah. Well, you are, or it wouldn't be in your face. You are bringing in exactly what you want to work on. I'm pissed off. Well, you can bring in something to be pissed off about every single day. I've told you before, and when I first got into this metaphysical journey that I'm on, even though we're going at rocket speed, there have been stops along the way where I could catch myself and figure out what I was doing. And part of what I had to do was figure out, one of the hugest things for me, in fact, that I had to figure out was that I choose how I feel about any and everything. And I choose it every single time, whether I choose it by default or on purpose. And that gets into a huge, the whole area of what we've talked about, reprogramming the crown, resetting your defaults. If something makes you angry because it made you angry when you were 10 and you're now 50, take a look at that. When I was 10 years old, someone told me a nasty thing about how I was an ugly girl. I was an ugly child. When I was 50 years old, someone said, that person looks better than you. And I fucking lost it, like a 10-year-old kid being told they're ugly. It's funny now, but it wasn't funny then. You see, a lot of times we react on default. Well, default is just fine as long as you set up your own defaults. What the computer issues is a blank hard drive, and the person who loads that hard drive is your parents who raised you. So at any given point in your life, when you get ready to take control of who you are and what you're doing as an adult, you can reset that default. You can wipe that hard drive, essentially, and reload it with your own stuff. But like all hard drives, they have a limited storage capacity. So as much of your stuff as you want to be your own genuine choices, well, you may have to discard some of that old shit. You can't have it all. You can't get pissed off and choose to be love and light. You're going to have to find some kind of compromise. I have known numerous people. I've been a nurse forever, so I've known thousands and thousands of people. But I've really known several people, like intimately, they were part of my life for some period of time or whatever, years, who literally get up in the morning, have some sort of a look at what their day may contain, their job, their appointment, after school, this or that, and they go through and they say what's going to piss them off about each one of those as they're drinking their morning coffee. And you know what? It occurs just like that. And then they blame it on that out there, saying, well, that stuff pissed me off. No, it did not. You got up and decided to be pissed off. The universe provided for you exactly what you requested, exactly what you put your will to creating. Well, when you get a real good grasp of this and you realize for sure that you are creating your responses and that you get to choose them, and when you realize that this down here takes a lot of energy from this up here, and up here's where I want to work, well, you move all this stuff up here, and all this stuff down here runs on default that I set up, and on default at my root chakra. My automated systems run perfectly. My body is healthier than it's ever been. I have just no complaints at all. Every day I feel better. And on the days that I'm still having adjustments made, there's still some stuff clearing out in my abdomen and lungs. And on those days, I'm just so grateful to know that we're moving forward, because if I'm feeling anything at all in there other than perfect health, that means there's still something that needs to be adjusted, and they're taking care of that. And it's taking care of it automatically. I'm not doing anything. I eat what I crave eating. If I forget to eat and they say, could you feed me? Then I go eat. I sleep when I feel like sleeping, which is on no kind of a regular schedule at all. And it just runs itself. And I get to do my work up here in the ethers. But you don't get to do your work up here in the ethers and be pissed off down here at the world. It just doesn't work that way energetically. You cannot think yourself to enlightenment. You can think yourself out of being an angry person. And that's exactly how you do it. Being an angry person is a default. You have decided to be an angry person sometime in your past, in your life. Quite likely with very legitimate reasons. When I was a child being sexually abused, it seemed quite right to be angry about it. It felt wrong. It felt sick. It felt like I was being invaded, and I got angry, and I stayed angry. But the thing is, when it stopped happening, and I was then 14 and 15 and 19 and 39 and 49, I was still angry about it. At that point, the anger had no more energy. It was up here, and it gave me cancer. Damn near killed me. That's what holding on to anger does. Besides making your mind uncomfortable, it draws the energy down where the energy should be going up, and it creates physical illness, and it creates all kinds of illness. And depending on how hard and how far it gets sucked down depends on the kind of illnesses you manifest. In my case, locked and sucked down all the way to the right chakra, like I said, 20 years being treated for depression. Treated for, not cured of. It didn't do anything. 20 years, my liver's shot. I'm addicted to all kinds of drugs. I'm still in the same place. I'm still mad. You see, it did nothing except waste 20 years of my life and really, really harm this physical structure, which it's taken me the last 5 years to allow it to come back into health. So the point of the talk today is, if you have an angry outburst, honor that for what it is. If you sit around and think about how mad you are living in your thought space. You are wasting energy, spinning on a hamster wheel. And if you have any kind of an idea that you have somebody to forgive for something, that's all in your thought space. As soon as you have the event, it is over. Even if you have an explosive temper tantrum, once that's over, it's over. Remember the last line. I really chose to blow up about that today. That's the end of it. That's not the beginning of the yeah about it. 95% of people, if they have a bad day, they go home and they won't tell somebody about it. They want to share their pissed offness. And they want somebody to validate that by getting pissed off with them later in the day about something that happened 6 hours ago on the bus, for instance. Someone insulted me this morning. I'm going to tell you all about it. And what I expect from you, what I want from you as a response is, well, God, that was bad. Let's be mad together. Do you see, this is how war starts? Let's be mad together. This is what creates war. If it's that easy to be mad together, why is it so difficult to be happy together? Why? Do you know why? Because being happy occurs here as this, moves upward, okay? Being hateful and angry occurs down here, okay? That's the actual energy of it, but the driving force of it that creates the chaos and sustains it is up here in the crown chakra. The crown chakra is at a higher vibration than the heart chakra. It can derail you from your journey simply with your thoughts. And those thoughts are so incredibly powerful that while you're derailed off your journey that you should be on, enjoying life for whatever it is, whatever you signed up and came here for, you're now refusing to do that. You're off your journey. Your journey is proceeding, but you're looking backwards because you're mad. I'm mad about it, and I'm not going to give up being mad about it. So your journey is proceeding without your awareness. You're moving backwards through time towards your death, accomplishing absolutely nothing except that you're mad, and you get to hang on to that. What you do accomplish as you move towards that death with your back to it is you make this thing sick, and it allows you a way to get out of here. Now, isn't that an interesting way to look at that? It allows you to get out of here. Once you're on that path of stewing in your own juices and on the hamster wheel and pissed off and angry at the world, you're not going to complete your journey here. You're not going to complete your journey here. So they might as well let you die and get out of here and start again. If you lock into this at a bit higher vibration than I did, depression and anger and all that down there, loss of sex drive, loss of weight, inability to have normal menstrual stuff if you're female, affecting your bowels and your intestines and all that important stuff that does your digestion down there, all of it just fucked for 20 years. you want to get out of that, you got to raise that energy up through that. Anger may be the way to bust through that and get started, but once it starts, you got to keep going. You don't blow up and have an explosion every single day, because that's just not the way life works. If you do, you've got some neurological thing going on. I mean, I have seen people like that. I was a nurse, and I have actually seen people who have these explosions every day. Well, those are a type of seizures. They have a neurological brain deficit going on there. Mother shorting out. Okay? But if you have a normal functioning crown chakra and your root chakra has you in systemic balance, you don't do that. You don't live your life boom, boom, boom. You live your life boom, boom. Life happens in moments like that. And all the automated stuff runs all the time, and we don't pay any attention to it. Well, if you start paying attention to it, you realize that there's a lot of that you can control. And you can decide what the boom moments are going to be. For me anymore, boom moments are, wow, that's great. We just did this thing. Wow. Those are my booms, my big booms now, because they're happening up here. I have very little awareness of anything going on down here in my body, unless I choose to. I have every bit of ability of awareness to go down here and focus on my body. And I teach people this in meditation. When you feel good and your body's calm, do you even know what that feels like? No. Well, let's look at that. How does it feel to be calm? When I describe calm in physical terms, I have quietness in my mind. I have very few thoughts. I usually have some sort of a pressure here across my face, which feels somewhat like a veil. I have warmness that occurs right here. I feel no churning or any kind of grinding in my belly. My legs tend to feel warm, and it gets cooler as it goes down to my toes. That's my physical description of calm. Have you ever looked at what your body feels like when it's calm? We only pay attention to the body when it's hurting, when it's screeching at us like an emergency hurting, or when we get to thinking about that it doesn't look right, then we pay attention to it. But do you ever actually connect with your physical body and say, hey, how are you doing? Is there anything I can do for you? Is there anything this thing needs? This thing supports you day in and day out. It is as close to reality as you get in physical form. This is what it looks like. Okay? You can choose to take care of it in a very thoughtful way with meticulous exercise and diet and whatever, and that works for a lot of people. It would never work for me. I'm not meticulous about anything. I don't follow a schedule for 4 hours, much less 4 months or 4 years. So what worked for me was to say, there's something down here that knows more about this than I do, and just turn it over and move myself out of the picture and let occur what occurred. Well, what occurred is I healed myself of cancer. I straightened out my arthritic bowed legs so I can walk straight now. I have adapted to having a second set of teeth better than anybody I know. And I've had a lot of dentures in my life. I was a nurse. So you see, these are choices. It's all choices. Things happen all around us all the time, spontaneously, all day, every day. We get to choose how we respond. Anything that you say, I've been angry about that for years. Today, you are choosing to be angry about something that occurred years ago. Just realize that. Somebody at work yesterday was rude to me. When you get up this morning, you are choosing to be angry about something that occurred yesterday. Those are choices. If you're at work and somebody says something ugly or mean to you and you respond with, then and then that's over and you stop it and you go back to your job, that's a flash of anger. That's energy moving, getting you to do something. And it's over when it's over. When you go home and say, do you know what happened at work today? It's yours now. You own it. It's in your thought space and you are driving it. The event is over in a nanosecond, always. How much energy you give the event can affect your life for the next 10 minutes or the next 80 years, whatever you choose. A lot of the work I'm doing around the world with younger folks is about anger. And I have had a couple of different people who've come on and said, I didn't get angry today. I'm just like, well, that's the most fantastic thing I've ever heard. And I'll say to them, let's rephrase what you just said. I didn't choose anger today. And they're like, yeah, that's powerful. When you realize it's your choice, you take back all your power. If anything out there in the world can make you angry, it has your power, and you are a puppet. A puppet with no substance whatsoever. When you take back those feelings and you take the responsibility for them and you look deeply inside and you say, why do I choose to be angry? Wow. Why did I, myself here, as far as I can tell, choose to be angry because it feels like shit? Well, if I chose that, I can choose something else. Bam! You have your power back. Don't let nobody take that away from you. Don't ever let anyone take your power away from you. The way you keep your power is you be responsible for yourself and your choices and your responses. And you realize, in reality, most of what's happening around you is spontaneous. This is the universing. This is the world peopling. This is what occurs. If physicality and human existence was separate from the universe, it would look just like this. But since we're not separate from the universe, it looks just like this. You own your power as long as you maintain it. But that means you are responsible for all your behaviors, not just your light and love. Crown chakra is a powerful, powerful thing to deal with. Resetting your defaults so that you don't have those angry responses to stuff that happened 50 years ago is just an energetic process. You are changing thoughts about thoughts with other thoughts. But purposeful thoughts off the hamster wheel can be very directive and very important. Your thoughts of what you wish to occur is the beginning of intention. And when you have that intention clear of what you want, then you begin will of moving towards it. And when you have a clear intention and you have will, the universe provides for you what you request. Always. The trick is, if you feel like you're receiving something you didn't request, you need to look clearly at what you're requesting, who you're requesting it from, how you are requesting it, because a lot of times we're yakking away, the mouth is running, and we're not really listening to it, but the universe is. I'm willing to wait. Okay, you can wait. For whatever it is, you get to wait, because that's what you're putting your will towards. Well, when we're talking about anger, realize if you wake up in the morning and you say, I'm willing to be angry about it another day, you have set your day. In a lot of times you've set your life. And a lot of times you're sick from it. If it doesn't go as deeply as mine in the red chakra and it hits up further in the yellow and orange chakra, you see things, instead of cancer, you see things more like diabetes or fibromyalgia or lupus, all those things where the body's fighting with itself. The body's in competition with itself. It's not using nutrition properly. It's not digesting properly. It's not receiving input properly. Its nerves are not responding in the normal expected way. Those are all things caused by energetic damage. I've had absolutely no medical care in the last 5 years, none, zero. I take no medications of any kind, none, zero. I take herbal, what you could call plant medicine, but it's plants, ground up plants, eaten, swallowed, put in tea. Okay, it's not plants mixed with medicine. So when I say plant medicine, realize I'm eating plants. I'm eating plants, I'm drinking them in tea, I'm grinding them up, drying them, putting them in capsules to swallow, whatever, but it's plants. That's all I do. I've had no kind of herbal classes, none of that. The universe has guided me right through all of this. See, part of the thing about deciding not to be pissed off all the time is you have a lot more space up here, because being pissed off all the time requires you to keep thinking about what you're pissed off about. Otherwise, you might forget. You might forget to be mad today. Wait, I'm not supposed to be being happy. I was pissed off. I forgot about that. I'm going to go ahead and go back to being mad. Do you see how much processing power that takes? It's like running jumbled multiple programs all at once, and they have to update each other. Like, what the hell? If you decide you're going to be pissed off for the day, I can guarantee you're going to be pissed off for the day. If you decide you're not going to be pissed off for the day, it could be that you lose it and you get pissed off for the day. But that will happen less and less and less as you reset your defaults, as you learn new ways to use this energy up here. Part of that is, if you're not using the crown chakra to do what it needs to do, it will churn up something to chew on. It can churn up great, wonderful things we call daydreaming, happy things, my wish list, or it can churn up old shit like I'm mad about what happened to me when I was 10, and you can sit and churn on it. Well, I shared this before in other videos and in a book as well. I want to explain something really important to you. Your physical body does not know the difference in sexual trauma is happening to me at 10, and I'm responding as if sexual trauma is happening to me at 50. Your body is receiving the same energetic wound impact from that bad energy as if it was the actual event happening over and over and over and over and over and over. How many decades through your life are you going to relive this event and be mad about it? The event was over when it was over, period. There's nothing over there to forgive. There's not a person over there that did this to you. There is circumstances that occurred. It is good sometimes to review things that have occurred in your life with the crown, with full knowledge that I am looking back to see what I can learn from that, not I'm looking back so I can support myself being pissed off about it for another 5 years. Oh, I haven't been pissed off about that part of it yet. Let's get on that and be mad. You might as well just sit down and say, I'd like a serving of cancer, a serving of fibromyalgia, and I'd like some migraine headaches. You are going to make yourself sick if you go through life pissed off. It does not happen instantly. Getting angry in an instant is energy, power, boom. That's it. That's all it is. Stop it right then and there and realize it for what it was. Okay? That's what it is. That's what anger is. But being mad and being pissed off and living a life in anger and being angry, that is not what we're talking about. That's all happening in the crown chakra. Yes, Carmen, Thoughts About Thoughts is the book about resetting the defaults. I do not have any paper copies here, but I will be getting some soon, and I will be sure you get one. I haven't got my author copies in on that one yet, so. This is something that journaling may help a lot. because this gives journaling, what I mean is writing down your thoughts. Rather than just chewing on your thoughts, get them written down on paper, okay? Sometimes that helps you to focus on what exactly am I chewing on. Well, you write down something today, you go back and you write down something else tomorrow, you write down something else tomorrow, and you look at it and you really don't even have a focus of what you're chewing on. You're just kind of chewing on it all, and you're just kind of angry about everything. And if you start really looking at it, well, I wrote I was all pissed off about this, but it's because it makes me feel like this over here. Watch your words. I'm writing that I'm choosing to be pissed off about this because I chose to be pissed off back there. Okay, this is all about resetting those defaults. Resetting your defaults is not a permanent, what do I want to say? It does not have to be a permanent reset. But it will persist as long as you want it to, just like the defaults you're running on now. When you have an internal response that comes up before you can even think about it, and you flare what people would normally call a trigger, what I call a hook, those are defaults that can easily be reset. But in order to reset them, you have to be willing, using your will, to give up the bullshit you're hanging on to and chewing on. You don't reset your defaults by, in other words, resetting the default, you have to give up the idea that you're going to be mad. You have to not try to have the world feel that for you. If you continue to say, well, you see, let me explain resetting the default. Resetting the default in my case meant I will not have my feelings hurt no matter what occurs. No matter who speaks to me, no matter what they say, no matter what the circumstances are of that conversation, I will not choose to have pain in my feelings. Okay? But up until that time, 50 years, having hurt feelings had been my default a lot. And when I searched that back, it was a valid thing that I learned to have hurt feelings as a youngster. It kept me safer. Okay, but I don't need that now. You see, that's what I mean about resetting the default. You have to be willing to make the change. And if you're not, don't ask. You just waste your time. You waste your time and your energy if you ask the universe for something that you're not willing to receive. And then it becomes, well, I want it. Well, you won't accept it. The universe tried, but I want it. Well, you won't accept it. The universe is trying. So then you get to turn it around and say, universe didn't do what they said they'd do. I didn't get what I wanted. Oh, well, good. There's something else to chew on. There's something else to chew on. It's all about deciding where you want to use your energy. If you want to use your energy and you want to focus it in the crown chakra, that's great. But be aware that you are making choices and they affect what's below as well as getting you out to what's above. Anybody having any questions or any wish to discuss this privately, I'm happy to do so. If I can give you one piece of advice, and I don't usually do this, but I'm going to do this today because I care about you and I see people here who could use this. Wake up tomorrow with the idea that you control how you feel and that no one can make you feel anything. Go with that for a while and then see what comes up naturally. See what comes up. You may be surprised what you actually care about underneath what you've been told you are and who you will be and what you will care about and how you will do it and how you will dress and how you will walk and how you will talk. When you get right down to taking all that stuff and setting it over here and saying, I'm going to choose to be peaceful and calm today and watch what happens in front of me, no matter what, then you get down to the reality of what you care about. Pauletta, anytime. I think you're kind of close. I think you're in Jefferson. Is that correct? Jefferson, somewhere out there. You're close enough we could actually sit down over a cup of coffee. We'll make that happen. I'll speak to you privately. Okay. Well, you know how I am. When it's done, it's done. Wake up tomorrow and decide to have a great day. If I can help you with that in any way, you let me know. And my deepest gratitude and thanks to the universe for allowing my friend her new life. Okay. Love you all. Bye.